everyone. It's Saturday. Time for another episode of Beyond Garnet. Let's get creative.
May be too intense for some listeners, may be unsuitable for sensitive people, may cause dizziness, may cause drowsiness, may cause excitability. Safety goggles may be required for listening. Take with food, avoid contact with skin, avoid extreme temperatures, and store in a cool, dry place. This is not legal advice, must be present to win. Contents under pressure may contain small parts. Listen at your own risk.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today I have a super fun guest for you, all-around wonderful human and actor, Mr. Larry Hankin. Thank you so much for joining me today, Larry. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm very happy to be along for the ride.
Oh, awesome. I think you are a phenomenal actor. And
Oh, thank you.
You are very welcome. I'm sure you've heard that 5 million times, you know.
Well, you can't hear it enough, but I mean, it doesn't help anything, but it makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's nice. So do you get recognized a lot, or when you're out on the street? Are you able to go to the store and not be bugged too much?
The answer to that would be, yeah, I guess I'm recognized a lot more than I really realize. I mean, every once in a while I'll notice people staring at me
Yeah.
for some strange reason. or people watch me eat.
Really?
It's weird.
That's crazy.
Oh, they watch me read a newspaper. I mean, it's really. I don't know where. I'm in L.A.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're calling from.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
State.
Yeah, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. So around here in Southern California, yeah, that happens randomly, and not a lot, but it happens noticeably. But in other parts of the country, it happens more because around in Southern California, I mean, we're just it's like I don't know, just bugs, stars. They're all over the place.
Yeah, people are used to seeing you guys out in public out there in California. You come to Cincinnati and people are like, oh, they freak out. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't expect me to be in Ohio and see me.
Right.
So that's a little strange. But sometimes it bothers me because of the way that people do it, but sometimes it's really appreciated, and I really, it's kind of nice to be recognized for what you're doing, even if you're, working in a cubbyhole. It's nice to be somebody say, hey, I like your work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. What were you like as a kid?
I was a pretty, I don't know, a strange, weird kid. I was a different kid. I mean, I always knew that. I was, because I have ADHD and I'm dyslexic. So as a kid, and it wasn't really very popular then. Nobody knew about ADHD or, like pre-60s, nobody was really into that.
Yeah.
So I was considered an oddball because I kind of came to my conclusions in a different way, I guess. I don't know. And I was interested in art and stuff that other kids weren't interested in. They were interested in sports, and I wasn't. Like, I could have been on one of the teams in high school, and I chose to be on the rice team. Now, I because it was just an obscure, small, there was no spectators, it was just the team members, it was kind of private. I could have been on the swimming team, and
Yeah.
it was too public for me.
I gotcha.
So, I guess what I'm saying is it came out as being very shy.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, what it was.
Right. So what moment did you have, the defining moment that made you think, I want to be an actor?
Wow. Because I never, when I was growing up, I never really had any dreams of being anything. I liked where I was all the time. I was kind of a dreamer in a way. And
Yeah.
You can't be like that all the time. You can't be, wherever you graduate, you go on, you meet your people. Life keeps changing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to change.
Right.
Wherever I was at the time, that somebody said, how you doing? I said, fine, it's okay. I mean, I didn't want to graduate college, and then, but because I liked being in college.
Right.
So high school was kind of hard. I was kind of picked on a lot.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, like, some people say they have an angel on their shoulder. It's in movies a lot, that phrase. I got an angel on me. Somebody's watching over me. Well, in high school, even though I was picked on a lot just for being just a little different, a lot of the guys' girlfriends like to talk to me. I had a girlfriend kind of on and off in high school, but a lot of the other guys' girlfriends like to talk to me because I didn't see any difference between guys and girls. I wasn't a chauvinist. I wasn't macho. But it was cool. So I was picked on by their boyfriends. So, why are you talking to my girlfriend? What's going on?
Yeah.
Nothing's going on, man. It's having a conversation, man. In high school, that doesn't. You can't explain your way out of it. But so here's the upside. The upside was finally one day. I'm walking home, just out of high school. I'm still on the block that the high school is on. So walking on the sidewalk and talking to this girl. I didn't know whether she had a boyfriend or not. I mean, it never came up. Just friends from a class. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up and says, "Hey, what are you talking to my girlfriend for?" And I'm going, "What? I'm talking to her because she's in my class." And he didn't take any of that. I mean, he wanted to beat me up is basically what he did.
Yeah.
So the first thing he did is knock my books out of my hand. And she's saying, "Hey, man, leave him alone. There's nothing going on." And then the crowd started to gather.
Yeah.
And then she's saying, "Don't leave him alone. There's nothing going on." And I'm thinking, as a high school kid, I'm thinking, I don't want a girl to protect me.
Yeah.
Please keep quiet. I'm saying that to myself.
Right.
No, don't do this. Don't, leave him alone, leave him alone. Finally, I mean, and now he's shoving me, he's pushing me, my shoulder, boom,
right.
Boom. And she's saying, "Hey, don't do that." And finally, the thought in my mind was, "Lady, I'd rather be beat up than be protected by a girl."
Yeah.
I mean, that
yeah.
was so, but for some reason, I don't know whether it was because of the crowd, he was embarrassed, or maybe she was getting through to him. But he said, "Well, get out of here and don't do that again." He stopped.
Right.
Said, "Okay, fine." Got out of that. About 2 days later, I see in the lunchroom, I see this guy who's trying to beat me up. I see him walk in, and his arm is in a sling. And I asked somebody, I said, "Wow, man, what happened to him?" He said, "Did he, come on to you or beat you up a couple of days ago?" I said, "Well, he tried to. I mean, he started to. He backed off." I didn't say why he backed off. He backed off.
Right.
I said, "Yeah, well, a couple of the guys heard about it, and they just beat the crap out of him." Broke his arm. Holy cow, man.
Wow.
I was in the plays in high school. I was in a lot of plays. I was a funny guy. And I was a funny guy. I won, funniest in high school my junior and senior year.
Yeah.
So I was protected. I mean, there's a Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder movie about that. Oh, no. Richard Pryor said that in an interview because he served time in jail for drugs, Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And said, what was it like being in jail? And he said, "Man, I just kept those guys laughing, man. I didn't want to be anybody's girlfriend. Because I was funnier than I ever was in my life in there."
Right.
So, but I guess it counts because these guys 2 days later protected me. For some reason, I didn't know who it was. Nobody ever said, "Hey, we fixed that guy."
Wow.
They won't touch you. That guy won't touch you again. And he never did, and nobody ever kind of bothered me. It was my junior or senior year, but yeah, so that was the kind of thing. And also, during my lunch hour, I would go out into the baseball field and do a mime funny pitching duel with nobody,
Yeah.
So, and kids would come out and they would sit in the stands and eat lunch or read books for the lunchtime. So they would watch me, and so I was famous even though I didn't know it. I guess maybe that's why I was, I won those popularity contests, even though I didn't know I was popular.
Right.
Because I was just out there alone on the mound, just miming this pitching duel, and people were hitting, invisible home runs and stuff.
Yeah.
and I guess the kids were watching. So, yeah, but I never wanted to be anything. I didn't want to be a comedian because of that or anything. I just watched funny shows and stuff. And then in college, I was, there was no time for humor, man. College, I remember, I was an industrial designer.
Yeah.
I didn't even go into theater. But I did hang around the theater department, and that kind of started to edge me towards a desire. But I graduated college, and the only reason, and I still didn't want to be an industrial designer. I got A's. You know, I was an A student.
Right.
But I got thrown out.
Really?
I got kicked out because of my attitude.
Oh.
And my experimental, in industrial design, not only do you have to design a project like a mailbox or a chair or a go-kart, but you had to, if it wasn't big and too expensive, you had to build it. You had to go into a shop and you had to use machinery.
Okay, yeah.
So I would experiment with the machinery, which belonged to the Syracuse University, which is where I went. And I was experimenting with the machinery, trying, well, it didn't do this, but maybe if I could do that, or somebody else was on that machine that I needed, so let me see if some other machine I could trick into or reformulate into doing what I needed on that machine that was busy. And I was thrown out for that. I kind of fought back, and I went to the head of the department, and I complained about the teacher, and then the teacher walked in on me, complaining, what is he doing here? I was just about to complain about you, Larry. And the head of the department said, oh, he's complaining about you. So, Larry, why don't you go outside and let me talk to him now?
Oh, wow.
And when he came out, he said, we're throwing you out. You can't do that. You can't, screw around with our machinery and sass and back talk and report to teachers. You can't do that. So they threw me out. And I fought to get back in, which I shouldn't have done. Everybody who I respect in the world never finished college.
Yeah.
They dropped out, because they saw that, no, this is not where I want to go. So I went through the whole 5-year course, but I didn't want to become an industrial designer. So my roommate, my best friend in college was Carl Gottlieb. Coincidentally, it turns out, many years later, he wrote all the Jaws movies.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So he said, let's go to, let's just go to Hollywood or, Greenwich Village and hang out and he'll be a writer and you can do whatever you want to do. So I just thought it was So I just thought it was a way to get, out of the house. So
yeah.
I said, yeah, fine. So I was just swatting duck boards behind the bar after closing. I worked from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Cleaning the bars. But I had because Carl, who was my roommate, he was writing, he was reviewing movies all the time, for local papers, not
right.
any big papers, but local papers. So I had my entire evenings to myself, generally. So I would hang around in the village and I'd go to open mic nights because they were free and I didn't have much money. So I would just watch open mic. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm a funny guy in high school. I can do this. So I would get up on, open mic nights. You had I think 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. And I would get up and I would just talk. And it's not as easy as one might think, getting up on a stage.
Sure.
Being funny to you, if you and me were just talking and we were talking about something and I'd be funny, that's you.
Right.
But getting up on a stage and being funny is another thing entirely. It's not conversational, and you can't just get up there and talk until something funny occurs to you. It's not show business. No.
Right.
So I was really bad for a long time. Well, people tell me it wasn't a long time, but I thought it was. For about 6 months, man, I just was struggling. But, they would give you 5 minutes, and, you'd get off. But I started to... What I did have that helped me a lot was I had a photographic memory for laughter. So if I said anything in the 5 minutes that was funny, I could get up the next week or maybe go down the block and do another Monday night a little later. but I can remember what I said to get that laugh.
Oh.
So I just collected all the laughter memory lines. So finally, after 6 months, I had about 10, 15 minutes of all these they weren't jokes, because I don't tell jokes, but there were situations that I had gotten myself into, which in telling were funny.
Right.
And so I had collected enough of those life stories, things you do wrong or weird. So I had enough of those to finally one day, I think now I was playing coffee houses, now opening for, folk singers. So that was kind of cool. I just did 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and that was cool. And then one day some guy walks in, he was afterwards, and he said, do you have a manager? And I said, no. And he said, would you like one? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, you got one. And I said, you? And he says, yeah, me. And he says, I'll see. Just keep going. Let me, figure it out. Give me your phone number, blah, blah, blah. And he left. And I just kept doing this, opening for this folk singer. And then I found out, okay, I got you a gig around the corner, but it was in a hotel, not a coffee house.
Yeah.
Opening for a singer. The same gig, but a different gig. And then I found out that he was Woody Allen's manager.
Oh, wow.
And Peter, Paul, and Mary's manager. And I go, holy cow, man. And then I was opening for Woody Allen.
That's amazing.
That's how I got into show business.
Wow.
Because I had hanging around and nothing to do and cleaning bars. Now, the other interesting thing about that was me going and just cleaning bars and duckboards and stuff and, hanging out in coffee houses, is that when I graduated college, I graduated with an A in industrial design. So I was like a top student.
Yeah.
So right before, in industrial design. So right before I graduated, General Motors I guess they send around to all design schools. I was chosen to be flown to Detroit, me and three other of my fellow classmates, industrial designers, were flown to Detroit and taken on a tour of the car design, section of General Motors to design future cars.
Oh, wow.
Which was kind of it's
kind of cool.
For somebody who was graduating as industrial design, future cars, that sounded pretty cool. But I just have an attitude. I don't know if it's a problem or maybe it's a good thing, because it helps my comedy. But people don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, because I kept on commenting on all the designs that were around. It was like I took a tour during, I guess, their lunch hour. It was about 5 or 6 students. Because there's nobody at their desk. It's all empty. But it's during the daytime. So I think it was during everybody's lunch hour when they split. And they took us to the design part. And so I was saying, yeah, hey, man, isn't that, wow, I don't like this, or this is too goofy, or this is too... And I was looking at one car that was maybe, 10 inches long. It was just a little model car.
Yeah.
And I picked it up and I was looking at it. It was made out of plaster of Paris. It was just white. It was just like smooth. It was like very teardroppy.
Yeah.
Very futuristic. And I was looking at it, and the guy comes over who was leading the tour, the guy, and he says, well, you like that, huh? And I said, no, actually, I don't like it. I think it's pretty goofy, but it's out on some guy's desk, so he must be pretty proud of it, right? And he goes, that's the head of the department. He designed that. So I said, well, I don't think it's very good. Wow. I was just commenting, conversational.
Yeah.
Forgetting that these people are going to hire me. So he said, well, you don't like it. I said, well, no. He said, oh, okay, fine. But I saw that bothered him.
Yeah.
And then he took us to this cafeteria. It was a restaurant. And he says, and this is where the CEOs eat. This is where all the upper brass eat, people upstairs. And I said, wow, man, so we can eat here too? This is great. He said, no. This is the CEO's dining room. No, you don't eat here. So I said, again, I just said, well, why are you showing this to us?
Right.
I mean, Well, I mean, isn't that kind of, I don't know if I said stupid or something, but I was really bugged by, in other words, they were trying to fool us. That
Sure.
was what I was trying to tell him.
Yeah.
What are you, fooling us? And he goes, no. And then he said, okay, fine, I'll show you where you eat. And it wasn't anything like the cafeteria, like high school.
Like high school, yeah.
It was just, like the thing is, huge. Anyway, I didn't, obviously.
Yes.
When I got back to Syracuse, they said, what were you doing there, Larry? Well, I don't know.
It's like I have no idea.
Well, they didn't give a very good report. I said, well, fine, that's cool, But so I still graduated with, A or A minus.
Right.
But I immediately went with Carl, who was my friend on campus. He was in the, the journalism school, I guess.
Sure.
So I said, he said, well, why don't you come with me? I'm going back to Greenwich Village. You got an apartment, and you can hang out, get whatever job you want. And I'm going to be a writer, so, we'll just hang together. It'll be cool. So I said, fine. So we moved to Greenwich Village, where I, started hanging out in coffee houses. But the interesting thing to me was, and I didn't think this way then, but the job that I could have had at General Motors designing cars, the exterior parts mainly, was a huge paying job.
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
A couple of my student friends who graduated with me from Syracuse in industrial design went to General Motors. Two of the guys I went on that tour with went to General Motors. And 5 years later, I met them in New York somewhere. I think they called me. Said, hey, let's hang out. Remember, Syracuse? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you went to General Motors? Yeah, I want to hear about that. Okay, the first one, I can't remember his first name. It's Suarez. Suarez was an alcoholic and had been divorced. And Jesse, the other one, had 2 heart attacks, was balding.
Oh, my God.
It probably was 10 years afterwards because balding.
Wow.
Balding. And he was overweight and had 2 heart attacks. And I thought, boy, did I do the right things by swabbing duckboards in a bar.
Yes. Yes, you did.
No money at all. I mean, I could barely pay my rent with that money.
Yeah.
But I was so, there was somebody on my shoulder. Again.
Yeah.
I made that decision, but it was not for any good reason. It was because I didn't want to do anything, and Carl would be my roommate. He was my friend.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never argued about him, and he was making money. He was feeding me, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It is kind of cool. So I was starving and, making the rent, and that was it. So that's why I was hanging out in coffee houses. They were kind of free.
Yeah.
Or you just pay for coffee, and you could watch a show and stay a couple hours. Oh, I lost my train of thought.
Carl was feeding you. He was feeding you and keeping you alive.
Yeah. So he would be watching, going to movies, about 2 movies a day. And he would watch them during the day, and then he would write about them at night and hand them in the next day, the reviews. When he went to these 2 movies during the day, they would, they had these, they were kind of like lunches. They would give you some drinks, maybe wine or champagne, and they would have these cold shrimp, the cold shrimp that they have at buffets.
Yeah.
They would have a pile of those. So that was like the standard fare for going and reviewing these movies that he was reviewing, that Carl, my roommate, was reviewing. So what he would do is, and they would have, in those days, in the 60s, they would have white napkins, linen napkins. Now they would have paper napkins.
Yeah.
But back then, if you reviewed a movie, they would have these white napkins and the shrimp and the wine or the champagne. Well, what Carl would do is he'd take a fistful of shrimp for me. He would put it in a white linen napkin. He would wrap it up, and he would put it in his suit pocket.
Yeah.
And he would bring it home to me at dinner. So that's what I would have for dinner, would be shrimp.
Yeah.
And I would save, personally, I would save the napkins, the white linen napkins. So after a couple of months, the place I had these white linen napkins all over the place. I would show them. In other words, I would drape them over a couch, or I would leave them on the sink, or I would use them in the bathroom for, the towels.
Yeah.
I mean, but I had 20, 30, napkins all over the place.
Yeah.
So that was a reminder. But, so he would be feeding me. So that's how low tech we were.
Yeah.
That he would be stealing shrimp. Now, the funny part was that for weeks, his suits smelled of fish.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Finally, that's why he stopped. I can't.
It's like, I can't feed you anymore. All my suits smell horrible.
Yeah, well, he only had, I think, one and a half. I think he had, one suit and a jacket, a suit jacket. But they so you had to get him cleaned and stuff. So, it was but anyway, so after a while, I was opening for Woody Allen, and one thing just led to another. I never wanted, I loved opening for Woody Allen, but then he started, so I thought, okay, I'll open for Woody Allen for the rest of my life. I mean, it was cool. I was making, more money.
Yeah.
And I was getting, hey, you're really funny, ha, ha, ha. The downside of being a stand-up comedian, and all comedians will tell you this. So I told stories about what my day was. I would get up on stage and I would tell, about some screw-up I did, or somebody screwed up, or something funny happened. But it was the stuff that I did that was funny to me, and I would tell the audience, and it was starting to build, and I was learning. I never wrote anything, ever.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to write comedy.
Yeah.
I didn't. Again, because it wasn't casual. It wasn't. I was forcing it, and I would sit there for a long time. Nothing was funny. If I had a pencil and a white paper in front of me, nothing became funny.
Right.
It was a
right.
It was a downer. A pencil and a paper was a downer. So I would talk about my days, and I would take three minutes in the beginning of the act to do anything I wanted to talk about that happened to me that day, because I knew I had funny stuff coming up. And the audience, what I did was I stopped asking them when I started opening for really big acts like Miles Davis, Kingston Trio, and the Love and Spoonful. I asked, Love and Spoonful was arenas, but when I was a night coach for Miles Davis, saying the Kingston Trio, they would say, Larry Hankin, they would go, ladies and, because I played those clubs before. Now
right.
I'm playing it again, like at Cellar Door, they would say, ladies and gentlemen, here's Larry Hankin, one of the funniest comedians we've ever had at the Cellar Door, Larry Hankin. I go, that is also a total killer. Like the audience goes, oh really, the funniest guy ever? All right, let me see. I mean, right away they had an attitude.
Yeah, let me see how funny this guy really
is. The
is.
funniest guy ever, I would die.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take me 10 minutes to get them, feeling, no, I really am funny. I'll make you laugh. Just give me a shot here. So I told them, and then this was instructions for the rest of my time as a stand-up comedian, do not introduce me except for my name. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Hankin. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. And then they didn't know I was going to sing. Just a guy walked out. They assumed maybe I was a comedian. But at least they gave me a shot. They said,
right.
Okay, let's see what this guy is. And that would be funny, and it would be cool,
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a lot of stuff that I learned, just about, I guess, show business or getting up in front of people. So I was doing that for a while, but then I started, because of my attitude, and then this is the good part of my attitude, I started to become not a funny guy, but a satirist. And I didn't know the difference.
Uh-huh.
It was just, I was starting to get more incisive and a lot smarter and intelligent about what I was talking about. And there was a point to it. Like if somebody did something foolish, I would not only that, but I'd make a comment about it. Funny.
Right.
I guess basically what I'm starting to see, and I didn't know it then, but eventually I joined Second City, and then we started our own satirical company. So in other words, I didn't know where I was going, but there it was. I started being a satirist, and I didn't know that down the road you're going to be in the Second City, which was a satire. I mean, they had some really cool shots at, politics, religion, science, drugs, and that's what I was starting to talk about. But as a stand-up comedian opening for the Kingston Trio, the audience wanted to hear the Kingston Trio, and that's some political satire. So they started to boo me.
Really?
And so all of a sudden it started to go back again. I mean, I was successful as a stand-up comedian, but now it started to, I had an edge, I started to get edgy, and I could see the audience was not going along with me.
Wow.
So now I was in Richard Pryor territory, George Carlin territory, Lenny Bruce territory.
Yeah.
And that was getting weird, man. And then cops started to pull me off the stage. And that was just too much because, as I told my manager, well, Woody Allen's manager, I kept on saying, get me on television, get me on television. Woody's on television. He's opening at the, big hotels, Why can't you get me those gigs? He says, Larry, you curse on stage, you say fuck, you're talking about drugs, you're political. I mean, Woody doesn't do that. You've got to have television material. And I didn't know what the heck television material was because I wasn't writing anything.
Right.
I was still just getting up on stage. The first 3 minutes, I just talk about anything I want, going into the regular stuff, But it was by then all political and drug humor and marijuana and politics and religion and blah blah blah. And so finally, I mean, at a 11 Spoonful Arena concert in Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, to a college student in 1962, I think, or three, they started not only booing me because I was talking about naked, individuals, naked people, and sexual members, sexual parts of the body, and they started booing it, and I wouldn't stop because because I said to the audience, they go, boo boo, we don't want to hear that. Tell us about your family, boo boo.
Yeah.
So I yelled back at them. I said, hey man, I thought this is, Loving Spoonful, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No, boo, boo, boo. And I said, well, I'm going to go on anyway. This is my act. So I kept on going, blah, blah, blah. Naked, what is this between your legs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they got so angry that the first two rows, in a certain old arena or even movie seats, but I remember in my high school, the auditorium seats, they had these wooden armrests attached to the metal, thing. Well, you can take those wooden armrests off. You can hit them from the back and hit them forward, and they just slide off. Well, these college kids in the first row were taking their wooden armrests off and throwing them at me.
Oh my God.
So I'm watching them, and at first I thought it was funny, and what are you kidding? And the Loving Spoonful in the wings are laughing their head off. He said, no, talk about sex, more sex. But they wanted to write. That's what they wanted. So I'm dodging these things. If one of those hit me, they would have really hurt me.
Oh, sure.
They're heavier than a bottle or anything. So finally, I put my hands up and I said, okay. I'm not going to talk about sex, drugs, or rock and roll. Okay. I'm just going to talk about the funny stuff. Okay. And they quieted down. They immediately quieted down. Like all of a sudden, good kids, good college students. So they quieted down. So I said, okay. So I had, all kinds of stuff, and I quickly in my head picked out the funny stuff that wasn't going to cause a riot. And I'm telling them, and I won them back, and they're laughing. And at one point, I got a really big laugh, and so I said, I let the laughter die, and I said, okay. Now we're going to talk about naked people. And then I said, and all of a sudden they got really angry. Because I started talking about, body parts. And they so now the guys, and no girls do anything. I was watching. There was only guys. In the back, they were pulling off their armrests and passing them down to the guys in the front row.
Wow.
Up all their armrests. So this flood of armrests working their way down.
Sure.
Pass it down to the guys in front. Pass it down. And now this time, as they're passing the things down and getting them down and throwing them at me, I see cops on both sides of the auditorium.
Oh,
on
wow.
the aisle, wall side. 10 cops on each side. A phalanx come up on stage, and they just very politely grabbed me by each arm, one on each side. They came up on one side and on the other side. And they just escorted me off stage to a great applause of the audience. The Loving Spoonful was booing. They go, no, get back, leave him alone, leave him alone.
Oh, that's so funny.
So anyway, I got back off stage, and just 2 cops stood with me while the Loving Spoonful had to set up because I was taking off early. So they set it up, and I said, well, why are you still here? And they said, we have to stand here until the Loving Spoonful starts playing so you don't run out on the stage again. Oh, man. Okay.
Wow.
So they did that. The Loving Spoonful started to play. And I was taken off the stage. And then when I did the Kingston Trio and I was in a nightclub, a guy came across the dance floor stage out of the darkness because you can't see, the lights are in your eyes. And it was a nightclub. And this guy comes out of the darkness with an upside-down beer bottle in his fist. And he's saying, get the fuck off the stage and bring out the Kingston Trio.
Wow.
He's coming right at me. Thank God it was a big dance floor. It took him, 3 or 4 seconds.
Sure.
So I time for me to get off the stage. So I said, yes, sir, I'm off the stage. I got off the stage, and I go to the bar, and I said, where's the bartender, man? That guy's going to hit me. He says, I'm the bartender, and you got to go back out there. You got 10 more minutes, man, before the Kingston Trio come out. And I go, oh, no, man, no, I've been through this. No, he has a beer bottle. He's going to do it. No, I'm not, unless you tell him to stop or throw him out. So he said, no, you get out there or you're fired. And I said, well, good night. And I called my manager, and that was it for that. I called him, I said, hey, man, they're coming at me with beer bottles now. I mean, at first the cops. I mean, this is not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It's a great line. I thought, I just was confessing to myself. Look, they're pulling me off the stage, cops, for Lenny Bruce stuff. And I'm not even into hard drugs.
Right.
I mean, that was down the road.
Yeah.
that was like 2 years away. But yeah, I said, I'm not even into hard drugs, and they're pulling me off for Lenny stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do this. So he said, join Second City, and so that became my acting thing. So I did.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Second City. I auditioned with Robin Williams.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I mean, he wasn't Robin Williams at the time.
Right.
But he was hanging around in Greenwich Village, and maybe it was it was New York. We auditioned in New York, but he still had that, the bib overalls with the suspenders, the rainbow suspenders.
Yeah.
So that's what he was wearing when he auditioned. So he was wearing that way back before he became famous.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we both got in, and we both went to different companies. I went to St. Louis, and from there, I went back to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They had a thing in St. Louis. We were there for 2 months. We were a big hit. Went back to Chicago, was there, and then a couple of us broke off to go to San Francisco and start our own company, like Second City, called The Committee. And then we were a hit there, but then it was only a $35 round-trip flight from L.A. to San Francisco and back. And so all these famous producers and directors were flying up to see this funny show because it was too long a ride to go to Chicago.
Right.
So they would just fly up for the night. They would just fly up, take a little flight, go up, see the show, stay overnight, maybe hang around in San Francisco, see the sights, and fly back the next day. So we were getting the best auditions that anybody could possibly get in the world.
Yeah.
Very big-time producers from L.A. were flying up to see us in our own show that was a hit. I mean, you can't get a better audition than that.
No, absolutely
So
not.
we were being constantly hired by LA, by Hollywood, to be actors in movies, and we were, just, a stage show, funny satirical stage show. So that's how I got into being an actor.
Yeah.
They hired me, and I fly. Then finally, you stay. You don't go back.
Sure.
I mean, it took me. I was 10 years up in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Before I decided, because I loved where I was. I mean, I always liked where I am, what I'm doing.
Right.
It was fun up there. We were famous. We were big fish in a little pool.
Yeah.
We were famous in San Francisco, and we were famous in Chicago too, because they knew Second City that we were their rivals. That was like going back and forth. Oh, you're as funny as Second City. Oh, you're as funny as the Committee.
Right.
We would get that from the audiences who would have seen both shows. Yeah, so anyway, that was the longest answer to how did you get into show business.
That's all right.
The longest answer.
Yeah. Who is someone who inspires you right now, where you are in your life?
Wow. I'm going through that right now. That is such a apropos question.
Oh, wow.
Not a great question, but an apropos question. Who inspires me right now? Okay. Oh, man. Well, Bryan Cranston, all the big-time guys. I mean, all the great actors. De Niro and I don't but I'm into other things now. I mean, now I'm into writers. I'm writing a screenplay now, so I'm trying to, study some screenplay writers. I'm watching a lot of movies now.
Yeah.
For the writing. So I've got these DVDs and the internet, and I'm writing a movie now, a funny vampire movie.
Oh, wow.
So, and it's got its problems, but it's pretty funny. I mean, it makes every once in a while, because it's 90 pages, and I can only work on 10 pages at a time.
Sure.
So I'm on page 70, so that's 70 to 80 page. So when I go back, I haven't read maybe pages 20 to 30 in a couple of days. So the other day, I read, back, I just, and I laughed, because I had forgotten, what I had written.
Yeah.
So I didn't
right.
know when the joke was kind of coming. So, I read it, and I said, wow, man, it still makes me laugh, so I guess it's okay. But
Yeah.
I have some problems, I mean,
Yeah.
being funny about vampirism is, it's quirky. It's
Yes.
quirky. But it's good. It's good. It's, I mean, it's so ubiquitous. Everybody's into horror. I went to a Chiller autograph arena thing,
Yeah.
where people come
Like
and
a
get
convention, yeah.
Yeah, convention, yeah. So I was in there, I went to New Jersey, and there was a big Chiller horror thing, and they had a couple of actors, so, who weren't.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a Chiller actor, but they invited some other actors. Yeah, and it was amazing. I mean, the tonnage of people, the tonnage of photographs being autographed.
Yeah.
The amount of autographs I signed, and they're like $20 or $30 a signature. That,
Yeah.
I mean, I came up through the 60s, and that was unheard of.
Right.
So, and the costumes that people wear to these conventions, like Comic-Con.
Right. They are so
wow.
detailed and intricate, and some of them are exact replicas of characters. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess now that I've been to a couple of conventions, I see. Yeah, the Star Warriors. The white plastic guys.
Yeah, the stormtroopers.
Those warriors.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Stormtroopers.
Yeah, the stormtroopers. Yeah, they appear in every convention.
Yeah.
There's stormtroopers walking around.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever's running that army has got autographed conventions covered. You can't do anything bad.
Right.
Stormtroopers will get you. But yeah, they're very detailed, amazing, and they're getting better every year. I mean,
Right.
And then all they do is just walk around. I mean, they're volunteers. They're just, people from the sticks or people from the urban areas. They're not in show business.
Right.
They just get dressed up just for the convention.
They're mega fans.
It's just amazing. Yeah. You were asking me who are my favorite? I don't
That's
know.
okay. You had a really good list of inspirational people.
I'm kind of, because here's one I've never mentioned, although it harks back to my industrial design college days. Charles Eames. I don't know. Have you ever heard of him? He's a designer. He designs chairs, like the Eames chair. Have you ever heard of the Eames chair?
I haven't. No.
Oh, really? You've seen it. Sat on them. They're all over the world.
Okay.
They're in everywhere. They're basically what they are is they're preformed, heat-treated plywood chairs.
Okay.
They're plywood chairs, and then they have shiny aluminum legs, and that's it.
Okay.
Very simple little chairs.
Yeah.
And then they're stackable. So anyway, he's one of the guys that we studied when I was an industrial designer in college, and he was really famous.
Yeah.
Really big, and he designed many things, huge things. He's almost equal to Charles Edison, the light bulb.
Wow.
So anyway, we studied him. Okay, I'm back into him now, because now I'm starting to go to these autograph conventions, and you can bring anything that people will sign. So now I'm getting like T-shirts designed. So I'm using my art background from college to design T-shirts. So to sell at conventions also, or on my web. I have a what do you call it? A web page on the internet called TheRealLarryHankin.com. You should go there, or anybody who's listening, TheRealLarryHankin.com. It's in beta now, but we're building and it's open. You can go. You can see it. It's pretty cool because all my art stuff from college is now coming back because I have time now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of writing this, screenplay, so I'm at home a lot. So when I'm not doing that, I paint and stuff.
Yeah.
So, so I'm kind of using all the various things I picked up along the way before I became an actor, like my art studying, and designing and things. So I've got we're designing the web page, the T-shirts, and I've got my paintings and prints up there too.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They're museum. Oh yeah, they're museum stuff. I mean, they're like $500, $300.
Yeah.
They're museum. They're giclée, but they're to answer who I'm interested in now as my heroes and stuff, they're over a wide swath now because now Bob Dylan I'm really into. He's one of my favorite guys just as a human being, or Picasso. I mean, even Leonardo da Vinci. His I'm very curious. I mean, I'll just pick up something and read 5 pages and put it down. Somebody thinks I read the book. No, I just, no, I just like important trivia, I guess is what I'm into. I'll just pick up a book and read, like I say, 5 pages, 10 pages. I'll skip around.
Yeah.
But there's facts in there that I just remember. I don't know. It's just in there. And then I'll find it in the writing. It'll come out. Oh, wow. I just wrote this thing, and that's based on this thing that I just, read 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Fine. Cool. So, I think that's really important for a writer, to just absorb, be like a sponge.
Absolutely.
Which is, kind of like what Dylan and the poets, I'm interested in them, too.
Yeah.
So.
Are you a collector of anything?
Yeah, this is really weird. I'm trying to break myself of the habit. So over the last 2 or 3 years, bottles, empty bottles, or empty, and then things that that I can store minutia in, like a lot of pens or pencils or rulers or staples or that kind of stuff. Desk things, writing things. So I collect a lot of things that I never use, but I have them in closets. One closet. A lot of bottles that you can store pencils and pens and paper clips and stuff, that kind of stuff. And at one time in the last place that I moved before I moved where I am now, which is actually 15 years ago, I had a friend help me pack to move out of there. And one friend all he did was threw out the empty bottles that he found I had stored in closets. So once I saw what he was doing, I said, "What are you collecting on?" I said, "Well, I can put stuff." Like, yeah, but you did like 100. You're not going to put 100, So when I saw him throw all that stuff out, I said, "Okay, that's it for that."
Yeah.
So I kind of, but at one time, I was weirded out by just collecting bottles that I could store stuff in at some point, which I never got to.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing I kind of collected.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite questions, and everybody always laughs at me when I ask it. What is your favorite type of cake?
Okay. Oh, count me in too. Another one. What is my favorite type of cake?
Yeah.
Wow.
There are so many good ones to choose from.
Yeah. Well, no. For me, it's the opposite.
Really?
I don't eat cake.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you served me cake, I would eat it. I wouldn't insult you. I would go, this is really good. But no, I mean, generally, I don't eat sweets of no sugar. Nothing like that. I'm really heavy into health food. But anyway, let me answer that question. That's a good question because I do eat, some sweets every once in a while. I'm not crazy. But, okay, let me see. I mean, I gotta survive.
Yeah.
What happens if the apocalypse comes and all the
You have to have some cake.
It's got to survive. So, what kind of cake? Okay, it would be, it would have to be a whipped cream, I guess. I don't like the sugary.
I like the whipped icing too. I like that better. The really light whippy icing.
Yeah, but I guess some sort of flavor, not vanilla, not white, not a white cake. Oh, probably a chocolate cake. Yeah, chocolate fudge cake. I mean, as long as you're gonna go all the way. I mean, it's suicide. Just a really black. Oh yeah, what they call a black fudge cake?
Yeah,
like
a dark chocolate fudge cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That thick fudge, man. And a thick fudge chocolate top, icing.
Yeah.
How'd I do? Okay? That's cool?
I think that's the cake that's called Death by Chocolate.
Yes. Yes, there you go. Exactly. You nailed it, thank you. Okay, I know what to say next time. I'll never be stumped by that.
There you go, see? What is a disappointment that you've experienced that kind of still sticks with you?
I have a lot of regrets about things that I say to somebody that's the wrong time in the wrong place. I mean, it was an innocent thing.
Yeah.
I say something innocent, and then I find out, oh man, that's the wrong guy to say that to because, his mother died of that. I don't know, something.
Right.
Just, those are the kind of things that really, and that sticks with me for days, man.
Yeah.
I said something to somebody the other day, something innocent. I mean, nothing foul-mouthed or just totally innocent, but it was the wrong thing to say. I can't remember what it is, but I remember the later that night, I was just sick, almost sick, about saying that. Oh man, I felt so bad. And now the other side of that is usually, sometimes, randomly, way down the road after that happens, oh God, and then I'll meet somebody or something, I say, hey, remember that time when I said blah, 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 and I felt so bad about it? And they go, oh, really? You did? You felt really bad about that? I never thought about it. I never thought about the way you thought it meant to me.
Yeah.
So it's generally me that, misinterprets not only what I said, but what they think I said, or nobody has heard the wrong that I think that I made.
Because we create that story in our own head, and we make it as horrible as it can possibly be.
Right, and it's never as bad as I always imagined it was.
Right.
And I can't stop myself from doing that. But those are the kind of things that really set me back, and I get almost nauseous. Not really. I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
But almost to the point where I drive myself nuts, and I keep running it in my mind over and over again.
Yeah.
But nothing in show business. I don't know if there's anything I did in show business. You see, in show business, it's really weird because I've checked. I say, well, do I do this in my acting experience or on stage or blah, blah, blah? No, not really. One time I couldn't remember because I'm kind of dyslexic. I have ADHD.
Right.
Fairly serious, but I can control it. I mean, I know what to do and blah, 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 so it doesn't bother anybody outside of me. But I can't remember lines. It takes me a long time to memorize things because I can't sequentially categorize things. If you get like instructions, like a lot of people can't take instructions. You stop by a car. Hey, how do you get to the highway?
Right.
If you tell me more than three things, you go that way, then make a left, then go that way. I got it. The fourth one, I can't put it in sequence.
Right.
Then I forget the first thing.
Yeah.
So I can't sequential things. So to combat that, I get people to send me the script early. So that's just part of the thing. Larry gets the script early because of the memorization. Fine, and I cope with it.
Yeah.
It's fine. But sometimes, like for instance, what do I regret? Okay, I had a hard time memorizing this play that I was in. It was a very important play. It was The Servant and His Master by Kundera. I can't remember his first name, but he's a famous French playwright, and it was the first famous play that was ever done in America, and a very famous director was directing it, and I was a co-star. I was the servant. I couldn't memorize the lines fast enough for the rehearsal, and so I kept on getting into fights with the star and the director because it was a very important thing. It was going to be reviewed all over the world or whatever.
Right.
And so on the opening night, and it was in one, then a full stage, in one. You know what in one? They pull the curtain and you're just playing in front of the curtain.
Yeah.
So the play was constructed so that the curtain opens, there's a scene. Curtain closes at the end of that scene. There's a scene in front of the curtain. Then the curtain opens, there's a scene. Curtain closes, there's a scene. Curtain closes, and it just goes back and forth for the entire hour and a half. Well, the thing that's hard about that is once the curtain opens and you were in front of the curtain, and then the curtain opens, you can't remember. Is this the fourth curtain opening or the seventh curtain opening?
Oh.
In other words, you forget the sequence of, I don't know what was the last time we spoke. Well, that kept happening in rehearsal. On opening night it happened. And the curtain opens, and there's the two of us, me and the lead, standing on stage. See, basically, we stay on stage all the time. Either the curtain closes behind us and we're there with the audience, or the curtain opens and we're standing in front of the scene.
Yeah.
But we're always there.
Right.
So the curtain opens, we're standing in front of the scene, and somebody has a line. And I didn't know if I had the line or he had the line. And he didn't know either. And so we're just standing there, and the entire cast is frozen behind us in the scene, waiting for us to speak, and nothing's happening. Okay, so I thought ahead, and I thought, this might happen to me. Because I know I'm a dyslexic, I know I have ADHD, so I always think ahead. So I go to the girl, there's somebody with the cue, the girl with the cue, with the script.
Yeah.
Line, please. I said, where are you going to be sitting during the play so that if I forget my lines, I can just turn to you and you just give me one thing? Which is kind of normal, and even in Broadway play, that's what happens.
Right.
So she said, well, I'm going to be, and this is a huge theater. This has about 2 balconies. No, 1 balcony, but it's huge. It's downtown,
Yeah.
L.A. So it's a huge balcony, and she says, and then right behind the balcony is a light. And she says, well, I'm going to be sitting in the light booth. And I say, it's behind the balcony. How the heck can you cue anybody? You can't cue anybody from there. And so she says, well, that's where Simon, the director, that's where Simon wants me to sit. So I said, holy cow, that's crazy. She says, well, there's nothing I can do about it. And the curtain opens. And so I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? I don't know. All right. So then, opening night, me and the star are standing in front of the curtain. The curtain opens, no line. There's no way I can get a cue. I'm thinking, well, obviously it's me. I've obviously forgotten the line. And the star is staring at me. He's glaring at me.
Right.
Really mad. So I just turned to the audience. Now, luckily, for some strange reason, and I remember this, in the script, in the actual play that is playing to the audience, there's a line that says, this play is an improvisation between a servant and his master as they walk along on the master's morning constitutional.
Okay.
So the trope of the play is there's two, master and a servant. We are walking across the stage in front of the curtain, and this is our morning constitutional. I always accompany my master. And we're walking and telling the story of the play. And as we talk, the curtain opens, and the cast acts out what we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that scene is finished, the curtain closes, and we continue talking. And when we get to an interesting point, the play opens up, and, they do that. So the word improvisation, the audience had in their mind in the beginning of the play. Somebody said it in the scene. Oh, I see. We are figment of the master's imagination in their improvisational walk.
Yes.
Okay. About a half hour into the play, something goes wrong, and either one of us goes up on our lines. So I don't know where the cue lady is. So I turned to the audience and I said, since my master and I are improvising our talk, we would like you to call out something that we should talk about next. Can we have a suggestion from the audience, please? And from the open window of the light booth, I hear, blah, 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 the next line.
Yeah.
And it was his. It was his.
I love it.
So, the line, he heard it. And it was wow. So he says the line, and the play continues. Okay. The two things happen from that, which is, so that is the moment, to answer your question, where on stage I thought, oh my God, that's the worst thing that could ever happen.
Right.
So that was it. Now, so the curtain comes down now, and through the entire play, for the rest of the play of the opening night, all he did was glare at me. I mean, he said his lines, but he was fucking angry. and he was the kind of guy, so he was the kind of guy, his star, who had an ego and gets miffed really easily. I mean, he had that kind of star temperament, how dare you go up on your lines in my play, one of those kind of guys.
Right.
I knew he was really angry. The play ends, and we come up on stage, because we have most costumes to take off. It was taking place in the 18th century.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of clothes to exchange and stuff like that. So we come up together, even though he wouldn't speak to me. He just wouldn't speak to me through the whole getting, changing our costumes and shit.
Yeah.
So we walk up together, and the cast for the opening party, there's members of the audience there too. It was an opening party. Gave us a standing ovation as the two of us come out. So I thought, wow, that's strange. We nearly blew the opening night. That's really weird. And everybody never mentioned anything about any fuck up or anything like that. Okay, we did the party, fine. The reviews come out the next day, and the review, because it was an important play, it was the playwright that was the famous part of the
Right.
whole thing. So anybody who was going to review, it with eyes towards reviewing it for the playwright.
Right.
They were reviewing the play itself, not me or the star. And one of the things that one of the reviewers reviewed, there was a big one, and I guess the New York Times, the LA Times, said the great trope of the writer was getting the audience to be part of the play by asking for a suggestion. Oh, now that was so cool. Somebody to review that. Now, it turned, okay, can I tell you one more part of this?
Yes, absolutely.
Other ticket.
Yeah.
There's a very strange instruction for this play, and it was a very unique, the way it was constructed, what it was about, and the fact that one of the instructions to the director, not to the audience or the actors, but in the beginning of the play, instructions to the director was that the two leads must never leave the stage. That's why we were always on. Where the curtain closed, we were in front of it, or opened, we were in front of the cast. But even said during the intermission, the two leads must be served a squab dinner. And it didn't say like a dinner or a chicken dinner, or it said squab. Must be served a hot, real squab dinner on stage to the side, and they must not leave, and they must consume the dinner during the intermission, or what part they can, and that both cannot leave the stage. There must always be one actor on stage. Now that's the direction of the writer to the director. So in the intermission, now what happened, the screw up forgetting the line happened in the first act, in the first part of the show. And so there was an intermission. We're eating this, and we could smell, and it was never cooked. The dinner was never cooked for us all during rehearsals. It was only cooked the night of the opening night rehearsal, the opening night show.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the first act, while we're on stage in front of the audience, I could smell squab being cooked backstage.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest experience I've ever had of food wafting through a performance.
Right.
A squab, So that was the weird thing. Okay, the intermission is called. Now, the line had been forgotten. Now we're sitting, and he's glaring at me because even though the cue lady, called the line down to him, and he said it, doesn't mean necessarily that was the line that was forgotten. It just means that pick it up from there. In other words, here's the line, just go.
Right.
Is what that meant. Here's the line, just go. And it was his line. So as we're sitting eating the dinner, and everybody's filing out of the audience, and just children, I remember two kids came up to the edge of the stage, and just for the whole time, they just sat, leaned on the stage with their elbows on the stage, staring up at us, watching us eat and talk. Now, we could talk about anything because the audience wasn't there. They had gone out to intermission. So we were just, talking, and he was saying very low because he didn't want the kids to hear. It's two kids. He says to me, he says, I'm not sure that was the wrong line, or the line that, he said, I'm not sure that was the forgotten line. He says, so I'm going backstage, because a person could go backstage to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
She said, I'm going backstage to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to ask backstage what was the exact line that was forgotten. Now, got to describe the costume for you. I was in a servant's costume, 18th century. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He was in a master's costume. So he was full-blown with the hat. He looked like a musketeer. That's exactly how he was dressed.
Okay.
With the sword and everything. With the boots, with the hat, with the flare, he looked like a musketeer.
Yeah.
Just a little dressed down from that, because the musketeers were actually wearing army uniforms. That was the flare of their uniforms.
Yes.
So he's a little less, but If you ask somebody, yeah, he's a musketeer. Okay. So he's got the sword, and it's a real sword, because I rehearsed with him. I know. He kept on taking it out to look at it.
Yeah.
It's a real sword. So he's sitting there, and he says to me, I don't know whether it was my line that they called down that was the one that was forgotten. So I'm going backstage to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to ask. But if it was you, and he said, if it was you who forgot the line, I'm coming back out here, and I'm going to stab you with this sword. I swear to God, Hankin, I'm going to stab you with this. And, I was fucking up his career. And he laughed. So I'm sitting there alone with these two kids just staring at me, and I refused to look at them. Just silently. I just sat there the whole time. Well, eating my squab, too. I was eating squab. And, what the heck. So, anyway, he comes swaggering back at the last minute. He just stayed off stage for the entire time.
Right.
He comes swaggering back, and he sits down, and he looks at me, and he says, it was my line. That was forgotten. He's staring at me. He never talked to me after that. That was the last time he talked to me. Ever.
The last thing he ever said to you.
Yes, to this day. And I met him, because it's Hollywood. He's an actor.
Right.
He's a famous Hollywood actor. I see him, I don't go over to him, but I see him at parties or something. Every once in a while, not at every party. But like once every 2 years, I'll see him. And the only thing, and sometimes I'll force it. Like I'll go up to him and say, hey, man, I'll say his name. Hey, how you doing? Because to me, it's silly.
It is silly.
It's so silly.
Yeah.
And I go, and he'll just say hi, and he'll turn and walk away. I said, really what? I was, one time we were both, I was in a hotel, maybe it was a signature thing. It was a convention.
Yeah.
And somebody said, I have to get back to the hotel, and the hotel wasn't within walking distance, so they send a car to drive you from the convention center to the hotel.
Yeah.
So somebody said to me, your car is waiting for you, at the curb, just go outside. So I did, and he was there. So I walked up to him, and I stood right by him on purpose. I want to see what's going to go. Because he couldn't go anywhere. He was waiting for his car. I was waiting for my car. And I stood like maybe 2 feet away from him. And I was just waiting, I turned to him, I said, hi. And he said, hi. And he looked away, looking the other way. And finally, he got so either nervous or weirded out that he just left. I don't know if he ever got it. And then my car came. I guess he waited to see that I drove away. And I was thinking, well, what do? He's going to walk back to the hotel? He's not going to wait for his car because I'm here?
Right.
But years later, and he's still doing it, it is the weirdest, memory of insult I've ever come across. But I didn't insult him. It was he that insulted himself.
Right.
It was his line that he forgot. He's still mad at me.
He's a big man baby.
I mean, but that is so...
It's insane to me. It's bizarre. It's bizarre to me, that kind of behavior.
I mean, that's how many years ago that I did that? That was like 19... maybe 05. I'm a 2005.
It's 15 years ago.
What?
That's like a 15-year-old grudge.
Yes, I mean a grudge. How can you do that? I mean, for something that I didn't do.
Yeah.
I know. You know what it is? It's embarrassment. It's a 15-year, and he's embarrassed.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing. A 15-year, like sometimes I will say something to somebody and I get embarrassed for maybe 3 days.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. For 15 years, wow. But, hey, different strokes for different girls.
Yeah.
It gets him through the day, maybe
I guess.
I don't know.
He has an ulcer with your name on it.
Yeah, but that's the only, kind of depressing thing. But it
Yeah.
really isn't depressing. It was just depressing for that few moments while I was on stage alone with two kids staring at me.
Right.
He's going to come back and stab me.
Having squab as your last meal?
Well, kind of. And the thing that cemented that kind of thought that he really is going to come back and say, because at one point, Simon, the director, pulled me aside, but the cast could hear it. During rehearsal, he hollered at me and said, "Look, you've got to learn these lines." Because, and he was saying, my career, he said that to me, Simon, the director. He said,
Wow.
"Listen, it's my career here. I'm just something that, he gave this to me to direct, the writer. He gave this to me, in England. He said, you can direct this in America.
Yeah.
So you better remember your lines, And
Wow.
the cast heard this, so that probably stuck in the star's mind.
Oh, sure.
And then at one point, the star, pulled me aside and said, at another time, he pulled me aside, because we rehearsed for, I think, 3 weeks or something, 3 or 4 weeks. He pulled me aside, and he said to me, "You want to step outside? I got something to say to you." So I said, "Sure." And he said, "Look, man, I'm going to punch you if you forget that thing again." So why don't you punch me now? I said, "Okay, let's go." And so he got in his fighter stance. So I was like, "What?" And we're standing outside now at the theater downtown on Spring Street. And he's standing outside, and he's getting his fighter's boxer stance. And he says, "Okay, let's go, man." And I go, "Are you serious?" He says, "You fucking know I'm yeah, let's go. I mean, you're driving me nuts with the, you got to remember your lines, man. Fucking actor." I say, "I'm doing the best I can, I'll be okay." And so I started to get in that, and then I suddenly realized, no, I'm not part of this argument. I just, so I said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this." And then I walked back inside, and he just followed me. And that was the end of that, But I did remember sitting and, eating my last meal.
Yeah.
With these 2 kids that, wait a minute, he had threatened me once before, so the sword thing could be real.
He's a very violent person. He wants to punch you, and then he wants to stab you. He operates from a place of violence.
I can't get into anything that deep.
Yeah.
I can't care about, maybe if you were gonna, murder my family, sure. But it's got to be something real.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna. Okay, sure, I'll defend. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's just show business, I guess.
Sure.
Like anybody's life, weird.
So if you could give one piece of advice to any of the listeners who are interested in being an actor or even stand-up comedy or writing, because you're starting to do that, what really good piece of advice would you give to the listeners?
Don't let anybody or anything stop whatever you want to do, as long as it doesn't hurt other people or yourself. That's it, man. And if you apply that to art, or being a kindergarten teacher, or digging ditches, man, don't let anybody stop you. You are right from the get-go. That's it.
Yeah, I love it. That's pretty straightforward and simple. Do what you want to do and don't ever stop going after it.
You just go, man.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why I say that. This is from the wrong side of the tracks. Is if you succeed, I'm a failure. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Don't do that, because I can't do that, and I can't do a lot of other things. So if you can do that, when I say you can't, that means that I could do what I can't do, and that's bullshit. So you fail. Boom. And
Yeah.
That's where people come from.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I've had that for all my youth. That's what I had to learn by example. I had a man for the first 15 years of my life. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So when I was living on my own, I had no idea how to survive, because everything I wanted to do was just no, don't do that, don't do that, and especially don't do that.
Yeah.
That's all I heard. That's all I heard. Just keep it short and sweet.
There you go.
and then, yeah.
Well, Larry, thank you so much for joining me. This was so fun. I learned so much listening to you. It's great.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Lena. I really had a good time.
Yeah.
You got a good show.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to send everybody to thereallarryhankin.com so they can check out your painting, which I'm going to check out because I want to see. And do you have anything listed on there, like any conventions you're going to be at coming up? Are you booked for any?
No, I mean, I think I might be at the LA convention. I just got an email yesterday.
Okay.
Asking me if I was available, but they didn't say what the date was. But so it must be coming up.
Yeah.
And so maybe that one, but I have to have confirmation. They just asked me if I was available.
Yeah.
I was available, and I said yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will post that kind of stuff. And let me see. Do I have anything coming up that you might want to watch? No. No, there's a lot of things in the works. But my stuff, my vampire movie is called A Night in the Country.
A Night in the Country.
That's what it's called.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it'll probably be out in maybe a year.
Yeah.
I haven't finished writing it yet.
Right.
So, yeah, the reallarryhankin.com is the way to go.
All right. So that's what everybody should check out, thereallarryhankin.com. All right, Larry, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you, Lana.
You're
Bye.
welcome. All right, guys, join me next week when my guest will be Texas Cheney, professional wrestler and actor. See you next week. Big shout out to Kevin McLeod over at Incompetech for our super slick theme song, Jet Fueled Vixen. Big thank you to Michelle Lawson for our super quick and witty disclaimer.